Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this is likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up, the Bills! It's not outside! It's not outside!
Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Homie, now listen. Everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we tripping. They better get out our way. Top of the table, we flipping. We on a mission. Got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo.
Man, I
And
was
good at
struggling to
hey, you know,
find the
hey, it's all right.
welcome.
It's
I was struggling.
welcome
I was looking
everybody.
for it. I was like, yo, where's this thing at? Couldn't find it, brother.
Yeah,
Uh
we're listen,
hey, how
it's
you
the off
doing, man?
season. Good. How are you?
Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of Coast to Coast here in late June. We are in the middle of the slowest time of year, but we are here to talk Buffalo Bills football. I am, of course, one of your co-hosts, Beyond 716, and of course here with Whittle 2K as always. And want to give a shout out to Do Champions as well. Want to give a shout out to our guy Tommy here. They debuted their new show yesterday, so look for their new show here on Coast to Coast. Whittle, there's also a pretty cool, pretty awesome episode coming up here on Do. It's all about philanthropy, and they're going to have on Ralph Wilson's widow, Mary Wilson, Del Reed. They're going to have Nick Mayork on, who is the father of that wonderful kid Eddie in Eddie's Infantry. If you don't know that story, it's a
Yeah.
wonderful story. That kid brightens my day every time I see him. I think we all know who he is. Uh, you know, bless his little soul. But it's great. I think it's a great idea because that's really what Bill's Mafia is about, Whittle, right? We talk a lot about it, so I think it's great to kind of put some emphasis on that. So a lot of that going on, even in the midst of the off season. And like we said, July is just around the corner, which means training camp is getting a little closer, Whittle. So what is on your mind this week in the land of the Buffalo Bills?
Well, in the land of Buffalo Bills, was over my mind. I don't know, man. I'm kind of ready for the season to start. I think we talked about this before. And I promise, guys, we will not be before you too long today because
Mhm.
the NBA draft is on. And out of
Yes.
respect for some of you guys that watch the NBA, oh my God, got taken by the center from Duke. The
Yeah, we
center
could
from
talk
Duke.
about
He
this
went
draft during the
to the Rockets, man.
Maluk or whatever, Malauk or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Malau. Yeah, I mean, there was no way. There was no way the Celtics were getting him without trading up. But Bills
No.
related. Bills related. All right. I'm just kind of ready for the
Yeah.
season, man. I
Yeah.
feel like our season really doesn't start. Well, obviously it starts as soon as everybody else's does in early
Mhm.
September. But the season that really matters for the Bills takes place in January. This team it's about getting to the Super Bowl and winning one.
Hmm.
Anything short of that at this point would be in my opinion, would be a failure. So,
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to the season, but because I love football and I love
Yeah.
watching the Bills play. But to be honest, man, it's more of like watching the season is there's no real benefit for Bills fans because you expect your team to be in the playoff. If we don't win 13, 12 or 13, if we don't win 12 or more games, the season is already, viewed as a disappointment, right? If we don't win at least 12 games, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people will look at this Bills team and say, I don't think they're serious. I don't think that they can get it done. I don't think they're good enough. So
Hmm.
expectations are extremely high. So I'm almost like watching the season just to make sure they don't screw it up and
Hmm.
get, you know what I mean? Like, let's just get
Yep.
to the playoffs. Let's try to
Yeah.
be as healthy as possible. Don't screw it up. Beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. Maybe we knock off a team or two that we're not supposed to beat, and you can't even say that either because we're favored in every game. So I mean,
Yeah. Hmm.
you know, I
Yeah.
I don't know,
There's
man.
it's an evolution, Whittle, right? It's, back in 2019, 2020, the Bills were trying to prove themselves. We were trying to prove ourselves to get on the big stage with those teams, right? And we hear that from other fans now, right? Even I remember
Right,
we had a space about a couple weeks ago. Remember that a Dolphin fan said, "Hey, Whittle, what if you lose week 3 to the Dolphins? How are you going to react?" And I loved your answer. You said, "Well, it's a loss on our schedule. I'll say good game, guys, but we're looking long game. We're thinking January, February. We're not thinking about games in September to validate where the Bills are. We know what the Bills have done over the last 7 or 8 years. We know what they are. We know we're in the middle of a Super Bowl run with this franchise. And not that we're taking the regular season for granted. I think we're more at ease about, okay, if we lose week 1 to Baltimore, sky's not falling, right? We saw it last year.
right.
You were at the game against Baltimore. We got, let's be honest, we got curb stomped that game, right? We got taken to the woodshed that game. But ultimately, we got it together and we beat Baltimore in the playoffs. So we know what's important, right? We know September football can create narratives that don't always flow into December, right? As the New Orleans Saints last year, remember how hot they were to start the year last year? Oh, New Orleans has this great offense and this and that. Where'd that get them, right? So just one example.
Yeah,
So I think we just understand what's at stake. And like I said, worst case scenario for us is top 2, top 3 seed in the AFC. Right. Anything lower than that, it's a disappointment. If that one team in the AFC has like a crazy year like KC did last year, it's going to happen. Right. Most years were a 1 seed last year, but because of KC's luck, some refs, etc., winning close games, they won 15, and we unfortunately did not get the 1 seed. So that's where I'm at right now too.
yeah. For me, it's about like the one seed is something that you have. Like you have every tough game on your schedule is a home game outside of
Hmm.
Houston and Philly. I mean, not
Yep.
Houston and Pittsburgh. So I think you almost have to get the one seed this year, and you need it because the issue has been health. So if you can play less
Hmm.
games,
Hmm.
that's always ideal. So if we can skip the
Yep.
wild card and just get directly into the divisional. We haven't had a problem winning 2 playoff games. So get the one seed, win 2 playoff games, and then go to the Super Bowl, and then we'll take it from there. But
I
um,
agree. I agree. Well, it's a
without
mindset too. It's a mindset being
yeah,
that one, right?
yeah.
It just, that divisional round. Let's say we play a 6 seed or something in the playoffs. It's different than having the matchup in a 2-3 in the wild card. Look how tough our divisional round. That game against Baltimore, that was a rough game last year. That divisional game was. I mean, that could have been the AFC title game right there, just as much as the game against Kansas City was. So
Yeah,
like you're right, if we could get that extra week off just to rest everybody, just to get things in order, right? And just to guarantee we got home field, it's huge. So that is the absolute goal of the season. Good, no matter
100%,
what.
100%. Um, so I wanna ask you a quick question. Let's say the Buffalo Bills end up with the one seed.
Hmm.
We play a divisional round game against Pittsburgh, right? We get Pittsburgh at home. We beat Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
and Baltimore knocks off the Chiefs in the divisional.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the AFC Championship game, you beat Baltimore again, go to the Super Bowl, you beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, you beat Philly or you beat Dallas or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or Tampa Bay, right? Because I think those are the, I mean, Detroit's up there too, but,
Yeah.
we'll see. They lost a lot of coaches. But anyway, you win the Super Bowl with the Bills. You don't play Kansas City in the playoffs. Does that knock some of the shine off of the win for you?
No, not at all. Not even in the least, because Baltimore showed last year they're every bit as good, in my opinion. We went through the numbers last year. We went through the DVOA numbers. That team, that was a pretty special team last year. They were a tough matchup in the second round, and they will continue to be this year. Now, from a personal standpoint, would I love to beat Kansas City to go there? Absolutely, right? I mean, let me ask you this. I mean, as a Celtic fan, right? Beating the Lakers obviously would mean a lot more than beating, let's say, did it mean more against Gold? When they beat the Lakers against Golden State, right? Golden State was not a bigger rival as the Lake. Does that give more credence to that game, to that championship in that sense? If that, I know maybe it's not a good one-to-one comparison, but it's their kind of like their
No,
nemesis, and does it mean more? Like if the Celtics beat
honestly,
Sacramento in the finals, does that matter to you? Or if they didn't play
no.
it's not even the Knicks. It doesn't matter. It's a title, right? Like at the end of the
No, yeah,
day,
we beat last year. We beat the Mavericks in the
that's right. They beat the
championship.
Mavericks in the
So
championship. Why am I
yeah,
thinking Golden State?
bro, listen,
Hmm.
I did not care. I didn't care at all, bro. It is freaking
Yeah.
hot, man. Um,
Yeah, I've heard over
yeah,
there, Whittle.
yeah, it's been like 100 every day for the last like 3 or 4 days, bro.
It's
But
70,
what was I about to
77
say?
here. I'm not even about to tell you.
Thank, thanks for that. Um, bro, I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't mind. It doesn't matter. Like, a championship is a championship. You play who's in front of you. Um, it is what it is. OKC played a bunch of teams this year, and a lot of guys that could have stood in the way went down with injuries, and that kind of that kind of I would say that it aided in the path of OKC winning the championship. But OKC
Hmm.
fans don't care; they won the championship. They're good.
They earned it. They didn't. It wasn't their fault, right? They did what they had to do,
Right.
and
Yep.
and you know, shout out to, even though I don't like Halliburton, you never want to see that. I went after even a few Nick fans on Twitter. I was like, how dare you even, the
Yeah.
guy towards Achilles. You just don't, there's certain things you just don't do, right? It's
And
it's a
he tore it
rivalry,
so
but it's,
late. He tore it so late. He's gonna miss next year as well. So
I
he's gonna
know,
miss the
it's
whole
just,
season. He won't be back. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's just tough to see, especially in game 7 of the finals. Like that's such a big game. It's
And
just
he
going to be
was, and he was. I think he had like 12 in the first quarter or something like that. Like he
he
was.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on. He
So
was on
that would have
fire,
been,
man. So
mhm. Yeah, it would have been interesting to see, but anyway,
yeah.
you're right though. But that, listen, I'll say this though. Let me ask you another question. Considering the way Josh Allen looked in the AFC title game last year, a little jittery in the beginning of the year. I mean, the beginning of the game, right? Which kind of surprised me. Would you rather avoid Kansas City because of this in the playoffs? Do you think that's a major factor, or do you just say, "Hey, I really want to go beat Kansas City"? Like, do you
Um.
think, like, even though we play Kansas City great, we play them tough in the playoffs, they do. I feel like they have that little bit of edge over us mentally in that case.
So, however the bracket shakes out is how the bracket shakes out for me. But
Hmm.
uh at some point you have to face the boogeyman. Like, at some point,
Hmm. That's
as a
true.
kid, you got to open that closet door at night, or you got to look underneath the bed and face your fears. And
Hmm.
to
This is
sit
true.
here and act like Josh Allen doesn't, clinch up and play in the playoffs against Kansas City would be dishonest. I think 21 was I think 2021, his first half, you saw it. Like, he wasn't great the first half. He was kind of average. And then in the
Hmm.
second half, something just kind of clicked. at some point, whatever clicked in the second half needs to click at the start of the game, and
Hmm.
you need to harness that and maintain it throughout the entire game. Similarly to Lamar, like Lamar played way better in the second half of that divisional game than he did in the first half. Had he
Hmm.
played the first half the way he played the second half, Baltimore most likely wins that game, probably by 10 points. But it is what it is. I just
Yep.
think that they have to figure out they have like Josh has to figure out how to lock in. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe maybe get Kyle Williams to like yell at him right before he goes out on the field. Kyle Williams to
Yeah.
give him like one of those speeches, and
Uh-huh.
maybe that'll work. But I just remember in 2021 how locked in he was in that second half. I mean, and you saw the raw emotion, yelling at the defense, something, come on, like go get that ball, go get me that ball back. Keeping those guys up on the sideline, I need to see that all game.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
And you know, yeah. I I don't want to avoid anybody because I think this team is good enough to beat anybody.
Yes.
So whoever we line up against, I think it is what it is. And leading into that, uh, let's talk a little bit about going into training camp. St. John's, Fisher, Rochester, the Rochester area. It's it is,
Hmm.
or is that's in Rochester, right?
I believe St. John's Fisher is in. I'm not that familiar with Rochester.
Okay,
Let's see. I'm just trying to see where it is. I think it's a suburb of Rochester, Whittle. I want to say.
okay, all right.
And if anybody's in the group chat, they could correct me if I'm wrong. But that's.
Well,
I think
it's in
actually it is in
it's in
Rochester.
the okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it is in Rochester. All right.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
do you think bulletin board material starts regular season, playoffs, or training camp?
Training camp.
Okay,
Oh
you know
yeah.
where I'm going with this, right?
I think so, but I want to hear you say it first just to make sure.
Yeah. So there was a certain receiver from
Okay. Yeah.
from the Miami Dolphins that really had a
Uh,
lot to say about the Buffalo Bills. And it's weird to me. Like at this point, I don't understand the logic behind any Miami Dolphin fan talking any type of trash to the Buffalo, like to anything Buffalo related at this point. Like
yeah.
if I were a Miami fan or if I were a Miami player, I
Hmm.
wouldn't mention the Buffalo Bills. I wouldn't mention any Buffalo players, coaches, front office people, past or present. I wouldn't talk about Buffalo wings. I wouldn't talk about anything Buffalo related because the Bills just beat on the Dolphins every single year, and it's to the point now where I want to say I feel bad, but I don't. But then again, I kind of do because it's like Jerome Baker. My lasting impression of the Dolphins at this point is Jerome Baker on Hard Knocks saying, "I'm tired of losing to the Bills, yo.
Hmm.
I'm tired of losing to the Bills."
There's something as a fan that's satisfying, isn't it? Whittle? Like when I heard Tyreek Hill say that, I
Love it.
smiled. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to circle back really quick to what you said about do you want to beat the Chiefs? Indianapolis is probably one of the best examples I could come up with. Remember when they finally slayed the Dragon and beat New England 38-35 in that
Hmm.
epic title game? Like it took them a while, right? They lost 20-3 at New England when they had that 500-point season and they couldn't move the ball at all. They lost a couple playoff games there. So maybe it's a little bit similar. Maybe that's Josh Allen's legacy. Maybe it's a Peyton Manning type deal where he didn't start winning till what year 8, right around now. I think this was about it. So um, we'll see if that turns out to be the case. But I guess if you think about it, Will, for the Colts fans, it has to mean a lot more that they finally beat New England in that game. So want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to
Yeah.
Dog, of course. What's up, Dog?
What up, dog? Um,
And
So,
we had a
uh,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, good. Well, we had a one thing I wanted to circle back to. We're going to get back to this just to get you thinking. Tom's already asking for a week one score now. We could get
Oh
into
my
that now or
gosh,
later,
bro,
but
there's so many things that bro, we don't even know what the 53 is yet. You
yeah.
know, I mean, anything can
Right.
happen. We could lose guys in training camp,
Hmm.
or preseason. Same with Baltimore. I mean,
Hmm.
the way these rosters look right now could look totally different week one. Um, so I don't want to get into that yet. I do think the Bills win that game though. I think the Bills end up winning that game, and I think they lose like a game. I think they lose it like a stupid game, like somewhere in the middle of the season to like Cleveland or something. Like they go to Cleveland and they don't really take Cleveland serious, and before you know it, it's like
Hmm.
20 to
Yeah.
3, right? And
Yeah.
and they're just and they end up clipping us, something like that. I think there's probably one of those, because like, listen, man, you know, I feel like this team. I feel like this team understands that it's about the playoffs. So when you have that type of mentality, sometimes it's easier for younger teams to slip up in the regular season and
Hmm.
lose a game or two that they normally wouldn't, because they're not as locked in because it's the playoffs. So,
Hmm.
and then we're also playing a lot of young guys. So, um, there could be a lot of mistakes. The reason why I don't want to do a score prediction because for that game, because Baltimore also has some key young guys that are going to be playing for them as well on the
Yep.
offensive line. Mike
Gotcha.
Green's going to be there on the defensive line. Trent
Hmm.
Simpson is probably going to be starting at linebacker for them.
Yep.
Um, Malachi Starks is probably their starting safety.
Hmm.
So, there are going to be opportunities in week one. It's going to be a big game. Obviously, the market is going to be going crazy. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint, you know, a
Hmm.
score. It's hard for me
Yeah, no,
to give a
no,
score prediction.
I appreciate the question, Tom, but I agree with Whittle. I would say my first thought is we will win, but a close game, kind of like Dog saying by three. That's be that kind of game. And also Beth put out something that we're going to talk about tonight, Whittle. Well, she's talking about if KC doesn't make the playoffs. So let's say KC is not the biggest threat. So we're going to get into ranking the AFC tonight, Will. So we're gonna get into that later, Beth. So that will maybe answer that question for you. So just wanted to put that up there for and just acknowledge that. I thought that was a good question. So
That's an excellent question. That's an excellent
yep.
question.
And then our
Uh,
buddy Pat had a question, Whittle. What's your guys' take on Dorian over Milano? Are we hearing whispers of this, or in terms of starting Dorian Williams over Milano? Because I haven't heard anything about that at
yeah,
this
I don't
point.
know. I don't know if that. I don't know if that's a real thing or if that's just an idea that's floating around. I think they're going to test the health of Milano to see what he looks like as training camp goes through. And also, I think I think a bigger factor in that situation is how much has Dorian Williams progressed. Like if Dorian
Mhm.
Williams is competent in zone coverage,
Mhm.
understanding how far he needs to go, like if he has a better feel for zone coverage and how far he needs to drop back and things like that, I can see a situation where they say, listen, we're gonna kind of split these snaps up, and instead of you know, Milano playing 70 to 80%, he's going to play more like it's be more along the lines of the 60-40 split. Because right now the
Mhm.
linebackers are playing at least 80% of the snaps, the
Yep.
starters. So yeah, I mean, if he's competent in that, then sure. Because if I'm a
Mm.
team and I notice on first and second down you're playing Dorian Williams, and then on third down you're bringing in Matt Milano, I'm throwing it on
Mhm.
first and second.
Yep. I think that's where Pat's hearing it from.
Oh, okay. That's what. Oh, you heard some Bills fans say they would rather have Dorian over Milano. Yeah, those are the Bills fans you don't listen to anymore. Don't listen to them anymore about
Yeah,
football.
yeah, yeah.
You
No, I
don't listen
agree.
to them.
I listen. Yeah, and not
Don't
throwing
listen
any
to them.
shade on Dorian Williams. It's just I'm riding with Matt
No,
Milano
no,
in 25.
no.
That's where.
We're throwing shade on those Bills fans that said that.
Yeah,
That's
not so
foolish.
much not the player. So good questions
Yeah,
though. Appreciate it.
that's foolishness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where am I? Okay. All right. So where are we at? Where are we at? Rankings. So
Rankings.
over the last couple of days, I've managed to take in some Mina Kimes content, which is
Okay.
always great. Shout out to her.
Yep.
Uh, and just some other content or rankings for the NFL upcoming, what people think. PFF does this. The guys that used to work at PFF, Sam Monson and I can't remember the other guy's name. But they used to work at PFF, and now they have their own thing called like Check the Mic. Um,
Hmm.
so they ranked the top offenses in the NFL. Mina Kimes did. Her and Ben Solak. The number one offense in the NFL was Baltimore, followed by the Buffalo Bills. I love that, and the reason why I love it is because we don't have a number one wide receiver. Like we don't have that. We don't have that marquee guy at wideout. We don't have a marquee tight end. Like we just have a bunch of good football players who are unselfish and are willing to play within the scheme. So far that we know of, right?
Hmm.
And with that being said, I mean, you really the stuff that was coming out of minicamp um, about like Elijah Moore and Joshua Palmer's connection with Josh Allen. It's
Hmm.
really, really, really uh, getting to the point where I feel like this may end up rivaling the potency and efficiency of the 2021 passing game. And when I say potency and efficiency, I don't mean efficiency as in Josh is going to throw for 70% completion
Hmm.
percentage, 4,800 yards. We're going to have three guys teetering around. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be basically, I don't want to say impossible, but it's going to be very difficult to defend the Buffalo Bills this
Hmm.
year. Um, it's going to be extremely difficult. The one thing the
Uh,
Bills lacked uh, last year was guys who could beat man coverage.
hmm.
And now that you've added that, we also had a speed deficiency on the team. Now you
We
add
did.
Elijah Moore, who, um, by reports, is running in that 4.35 range that he ran. I mean, clearly they must be like racing or doing like they must be clocking these guys and checking to see where they are because that's
Hmm.
what the word is. The word is he's running close to that 4.35 right now. So if
Yep.
he's there and you have a guy like Joshua Palmer who's really good at beating man coverage, you know, I think it's gonna be really, really, really interesting
Yep.
trying to
And I
defend this
agree with
team.
that fear about Shakir could be a household name by the end of the season. I would agree. I
Yeah,
think he's going to be a very popular player nationwide, not just with the Bills fans, but just overall.
so don't be surprised if you see Shakir lined up on the outside a lot more this year.
Hmm.
So Elijah Moore can go in the slot.
Hmm.
And then don't be surprised when they want to get the ball out quick and they put Elijah Moore on the outside.
and they move Shakir to the slot, so that way you have that guy. Like you could have Elijah Moore on the outside with Joshua Palmer on the outside and Shakir in the slot, and now you've got a man beater, and a speed threat in Elijah Moore, and then you have Shakir who catches everything thrown his way. So if you blitz, the ball's coming out hot to Shakir. If you don't blitz, you're going to allow things to get down the field, and these guys separate. Josh is going to be able to throw the football with accuracy and get the ball downfield for big plays. Josh Allen was the best quarterback in throwing into tight windows last year.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when there's separation? What happens when there are guys that can actually separate, like within the route before they get the ball?
Yep. And
It
Josh
could get
has
ugly, man.
excellent. Josh said he has excellent decision making. His release is unbelievable, and of course, the power of the ball. He's going to get it there much quicker than just about
Yeah.
any back in the league. So I would agree. And then Dog said to back up that we need Kincaid and Coleman. But he says we know the D drops the ball in the playoffs all the time. Dog, let's hope we change that this year. So, but I just wanted to, Kincaid. Kincaid is a guy that.
Who said somebody needs to step up? I'm sorry, I'm not even
Oh,
following
oh, that's
code.
okay. Beth originally said that, that we're going to see who steps up as the number one on this team. I'm not so sure. I don't think the Bills are just going to have a clear number one, Whittle. I think we're going to have. It's just all going to work together, right, as a unit, right? It's not like overall their numbers will represent an elite passing team in the NFL. That's really what I'm worried about the most. So, and that tied in here to Dog's comment as well. So, in terms of
Yeah.
okay, who's that number? We don't have a Jamar Chase. I'm sorry, we just don't have that guy. So, and it's not a knock against our receivers. It's just don't expect 100 reception guy. Oh, we don't have a Diggs on this roster right now either, in terms of Diggs in his prime. So, but that's okay. That we don't. I'm not too worried about that right now.
Oh, I think Dog is talking about Mina Kimes. Yeah,
Oh,
okay, all
okay,
right, I see
Doug.
it now.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it,
yeah, yeah.
Doug.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, why would she say somebody needs to step up? And so I think
Gotcha.
what she's
My bad.
talking about is, those situations where you need like it's like third and 8. The
Hmm.
Bills are up 3 points, and we're playing like let's say we're playing Cincinnati. We're up 3. There's 6 minutes left in the game, and it's third and 9. Somebody has to be the guy that uh Josh knows he can go to, and he's going to make the play. And it can't be Shakir all the time because I feel like I feel like in those type of downs, like I feel like they really crowd the area that Shakir wants to work in. So somebody else has to be that guy. Like somebody has to step up and be the safety blanket. Kind of like I don't know if you well, I know y'all remember, but you know how Cole
Yeah.
Beasley was? Like how just like
Yes.
anytime it was like 3rd and 5, you knew Cole was getting the ball, and it was like, what was the defense gonna do? Didn't matter. You could run
Hmm.
2 guys at Cole, and Cole was so slippery with his route running, he would just get open. Josh would look for him, find him, and that's that.
Hmm.
So somebody's got
Yep.
to step up in that role.
Yeah.
Think that's what she's talking about.
Yep. I kind of
So
we even alluded to it here on our pod a couple weeks ago about my friend talking about this 3rd and 5 in that big game. Who do you trust in that big spot? Like let's go back to last year's title game, right?
mhm.
3rd and 5. Do you think that's a big factor that we need an absolute guy that we could trust in those situations? Or but again, I say number 17 is another guy you got to worry about too on those 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7s. He could just carry the ball and get a first down himself. So that's something
Yep.
a lot of teams don't have that luxury that the Bills do. So that's another layer to it. So I would love to see one of these receivers evolve into that. Maybe it's Shakir Whittle. Would you feel Shakir may be that guy just because of his hands and reliability, in that sense, where I feel like he could be that kind of go-to guy in those third down situations?
Yeah,
Or
for sure. I see my man Pete in there. What's up, Pete?
What's up, Pete?
Pete is a Dolphin fan.
Okay,
Pete is
welcome, Pete.
a
Thank
Pete's
you,
my
Pete.
guy. Pete's Pete has some very interesting views on his team
Mhm.
and the personnel. He was a big Skylar Thompson guy.
Uh,
Like clockwork, here we go.
here
Here
we
we
go.
go. Thank you, Pete. We appreciate it, man.
We do. We
Pete
do.
with another terrible take. Pete's takes are terrible, guys. And here's the exhibit A. Pete, we actually have a top five corner on this team, and Taylor Rapp was better than both your safeties last year. So
Mhm.
maybe just comparing last year, Taylor Rapp was better than both your safeties, Javon Holland and Jordan Poyer. So I mean,
Mhm.
we added a couple of guys. Trey White came back. So I don't know how you believe Malachi Moore, and actually you don't have Malachi Moore.
Do they have
Um,
that kind of?
no, they don't have Malachi Moore. He's with the Jets. I don't even know who. Like you have like Ashton Davis, I think is one of your safeties. He was with the Jets, so you know Cam Smith, Storm Duck. Like those are your guys, man.
Storm. I got to admit, that's a great name, Storm Duck. I mean, that
It
is
is.
a
It
cool
is.
name.
He's actually
It
pretty.
is.
He's actually pretty solid too. Like
Yeah.
he's actually
Yeah,
a
he is.
solid player. He really is.
Hmm.
I had the opportunity to go and do like a little, two game watch of Storm Duck. Not a bad player, man. Not a bad
Yeah.
player. I think he's going to look a lot better this year because
Hmm.
that defensive line they got down there. But we're getting off
Yeah. No.
topic. Pete,
Yep.
thank
Well.
you for jumping in. We're gonna
Yep.
beat the
And thank you for
Dolphins twice
subscribing.
again. Yeah,
We
thank you for
appreciate you.
subscribing.
Hmm.
We're still sweeping the Dolphins. Uh, I'm sorry. And
Yep.
Davis, if he's better than safety, do us. No, it's not. It's not. It's not, Pete. Both those safeties that you have are terrible, bro. I mean, I'm sorry, but you'll
Yeah.
find out.
Defensive
You'll find out.
defensive
We'll
line.
revisit
I
this.
like. I like what they're doing with their line in Miami. I'll say that. I really do like what
Yeah.
they're finally getting that correct, but they still have a lot of work to do on
Right.
that side.
Yeah, you need your defensive line to look like
Mhm.
uh the Super Bowl Giants defensive line
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Eli Manning.
But
Like, that's
Michael
what you
Strahan's
need.
not
You
coming out
need
of
that.
that tunnel.
You need like OC Umenyiora and Justin Tuck
Yeah.
and
Strahan and
Michael Strahan. Yeah.
who was the
That's
fourth
you
guy? I
need
can't
that.
remember.
You need
I can't
those
remember.
guys.
I can't remember the fourth guy ever. I can never remember them. There was one other solid one too, and I just can't
Yeah,
remember
it
his name.
was. I
There's
believe
always
he was a
one.
defensive tackle. I think he was a
Yeah,
D tackle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh boy,
Yeah, Pete.
the
Listen,
takes they're flying
Pete. We got to
wild.
keep it moving. Pete's gonna keep these terrible takes up all show, all the whole show.
Hey,
So
but
let's just keep moving.
we appreciate you, Pete. We appreciate you. Thank you. You brought some life
Absolutely.
into a uh, late June
I'm
podcast of Bills.
surprised.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised none of our guys in the chat they haven't gotten after Pete yet. Hint,
Hmm.
hint, hint, hint.
Yep,
Take care of
yep,
that, guys.
yep, yep.
No, but Pete, we appreciate you. But yeah, so I look at so let's get into the rankings, right? So the Bills are ranked in the top two offense, clear the number two offense, and they were projected to be the number two offense by many cons. A lot of that has to do with the defensive line. I mean, not the defensive line, the offensive line being as good as it was last year. Um, one of the better. We have one of the better rushing attacks with the three guys that we have. Um, we can also throw to each one of the running backs. Like throwing to those running backs was very productive last year. What did the Bills have? Like around 600 yards of production and just in the air alone to the running backs. So I honestly do expect that to increase. Like I think you'll get more. opportunities to throw the football to those guys because the wide receivers are better. So expect big things from James Cook. Expect big things from Ty Johnson. I mean, Ray Davis. Like I think year 2 for Ray Davis. Like all of these guys, I think are going to play a lot better. Um, and I think they'll produce. I think they'll produce well. As I think they'll produce a lot more as well. And then you add in the fact that we're bringing back the same offensive coordinator, Josh Allen's MVP. He had 8, I think 8 total interceptions, or did he have what was it 6? What did he have last year? 6 interceptions. Hold on, let me check.
Thought it was 6.
I got you. I got you. I'm pulling it right now. Yeah, 6 interceptions. Think so, and then there were like 2 lost fumbles. So we had a total of 8 turnovers. Josh has 6 interceptions. That is a third of
Unbelievable.
what he had the year before,
Hmm.
and about half of his average per year. So a little under the half. So I
Hmm.
mean, I don't see the offense changing that much. I think they'll add a little bit more to the third level where they attack downfield a little bit more. But even with that, I don't see the interception numbers going crazy. Because like I said, we have man beaters, we got speed. Dawson Knox, if he's healthy, is another deep threat. Throwing to the running back, especially if you get those running backs out, if you get those running backs on the line of scrimmage in the slot in the receiving slot, whether it's outside or inside, they're a mismatch for most guys. So, I'm just I can't disagree with it. Personally, I would probably have the Rams as a more likely have a better offense. Even though the Rams, I don't even think they really made it into the top 10 in those rankings. I think they were like 10th for
Hmm.
Solak, and then like me and the Commons didn't
Yeah.
have them in there at all. I'm really high on that offense. I think they got a ton of talent. I'm high on the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers offense is a little underrated.
They're an
Um,
underrated team in general, actually. They're very overlooked because of their division primarily, but you got to look a little deeper with the
right.
on the Tampa roster. I agree.
I'd also talk about Dallas as being one of the better looking offenses coming into this year. Um, they're
Hmm.
bringing in a rookie running back. I think they got Jadon Blue, who had a fumbling
Hmm.
issue in college, but
Hmm.
the guy is a blur. Like he's extremely fast. And then you have Cavante Turpin as a speedster who they have as their fourth receiver. You
Hmm.
have Jalen Tolbert there. You got I don't know if they're gonna resign. I don't know if they signed if Brandon Cooks is still signed to them, but he's a
Pickens is on
walking
it. Yep.
1,000-yard receiver.
Hmm.
George Pickens and then CD Lamb. So like they got
Hmm.
a ton of guys they can throw the football to. So
Yep.
I mean if Dak's healthy, they're going to
Yeah.
be good. I think they're going to
They'll
have a
be
good
solid.
offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I don't disagree. Now the Bills did not rank in Mina Kimes' top 10 on defense, and I understand that there's a lot of moving
Yeah.
pieces.
Agree.
Milano's health is unsure. Uh, the defense was really bad last year. The safety room is not the greatest. There is some uncertainty on whoever's going to play next to Taylor Rapp, so that's an issue. We're not sure who's going to play cornerback too. So the Bills currently right now are not projected to be a top 10 defense. Um, but the defensive line was ranked as the top 10 unit, which
Hmm.
I thought that was pretty interesting. Um,
Yep.
returning 4 starters from last year. You add in a Joey Bosa, you add in the rookies, Landon Jackson, TJ Sanders, uh, uh, Deion Walker, and then
Hmm.
you sign, you brought over a hybrid outside linebacker slash defensive end, and Michael Hoyt, and
Yep.
Larry Ogunjobi, who thrives in an even front. And he spent the last few years with Pittsburgh playing in the odd front, where it
Hmm.
was a struggle for him. But
Yep.
I expect him to be better than he was in Pittsburgh because of the scheme fit. Uh, yeah, man. I mean, I think
We're
you can look
so
at this Bills. Go ahead.
we're just so deep on our defense line. I've never seen. And remember, Ogunjobi and Hoyt won't even be there the first 6 weeks of the year.
Yep.
And even without that Whittle, I still feel pretty okay with their. I mean, don't forget we still even got Dwayne Carter on this roster. Our pick
Yep.
last year who showed some flashes. So there's it, there's going to be a lot of tough decisions at the end of this roster in terms of the 53. That of course we're going to get into a lot, into the summer. But yeah, it's just our depth is almost embarrassing on the line at this point, if that in a good way. Right. I have no issues on that front. Even if Bosa was out the first few weeks of the year, I'm okay with that because I'm confident we have plenty of depth to back that up.
Yeah. Yep. And that's a strength, right? That's a strength where for years and years it's been a weakness. I think I think if you look at any team in the playoffs, if you take away two or three of their top defensive players, you take
Hmm.
two or three of their best players off their defense, I think they're going to struggle as well, and that's what the Bills have been dealing with for the last few years. They've lost two or three of their top guys on the defensive side of the ball, either in the playoffs or right before the playoffs. So, you know, pray for health. Another ranking that I was kind of surprised with. Uh, I would look at I was looking at the top 10 coaching list. Yeah, I'm looking at the takes too, bro. Like they're throwing me off. He is.
I gotta add
These
it,
takes are
and I
these
gotta
takes are
I yeah
terrible.
yeah we gotta
Jeez,
add that Cheats Wild takes. Okay, we gotta add that to his
Bills
to
Mafia. Look at
his,
this.
to
No,
his
we don't.
first Tyreek Hill.
I mean, there's a salary cap, brother. There is
Yeah,
a salary cap, and we like to
yeah,
stay on the we like to stay in the green, not the red.
exactly.
But anyway, um, top 10 coaches list came out. Uh, Sean McDermott was not on it. I was shocked. I was shocked. So I'll read this list, and I think it was done. I think the list was done by PFF. So let me make
Hmm.
sure. Let me make sure. Okay. It is a list by PFF. Top 10 returning head coaches. I'm gonna give you 1 through 10. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Sean McVay, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Jim Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan, Nick Sirianni, Dan Campbell, and Kevin Stefanski. I would I'm gonna give you the list of people I think um Sean McDermott should be ahead of. Kevin Stefanski, Dan Campbell, Jim Harbaugh, and that's it. I'm gonna give all those other guys that won Super Bowls their due, and have them ahead of McDermott. But somebody brought up a great point on Twitter, and they said Sean McDermott's one of two coaches who's had a 70% or a higher than 70% win percentage. It's him and Andy Reid. That's it. Um, and it's cool. Like if you want to say that, well, that's because of Josh Allen. Sure, you could say that, but like explain 2017 to me
Hmm.
because there wasn't a Josh Allen in
Yep,
2017. So, um,
exactly.
would he without Josh Allen would he still be a 70% win percentage coach? Absolutely not. Like we know
No.
that, but he'd still be a winning coach because you
Yeah,
know
I would think so.
he's a really good coach. Just he's a really good coach. But all right, cool. So you got anything on that? I mean, Pete is
Pete's okay.
really, really tearing this up. Like
No, I
he's
think
really.
I think on that, but Whittle, I think we have about 10 minutes left or so because we do have the NBA draft going on. By the way, did you see the Atlanta Hawks traded down 10 spots and got an unprotected 2026 first from New Orleans next year? That is just highway robbery, Whittle. Highway robbery. Imagine if that could be like a top 5 pick next year. It's a
It
great deal.
probably will be.
Yeah, I don't know what New Orleans is thinking on that one, but that's why they're New Orleans. But
Yeah, New
pivoting
Orleans
back,
just traded away like a bunch of guys. Like they got like Jordan Poole back or something.
they're
So
not a
I don't know
serious
what. Yeah, I
organization.
don't know what they're
They're
doing. I mean,
Yeah, we're
I
still
will
trying to find
see.
a. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm not. No rumor. I'm not interviewing for the Knicks head coaching job, Whittle. So just putting that out there. So, what are
Oh,
they going to hire head coach?
Mike Brown's the leading candidate. In case you knew,
I didn't.
I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't think he was that bad, but I just don't, I'm not really interested in going down the Mike Brown route again. But
Yeah,
yeah, I digress. He wasn't that bad. He didn't have a lot with the Knicks when
yes,
he
he
was here.
was.
Yeah. Do you remember our
Yeah, Mike
rosters at
Brown was
Whittle?
not a good
They
coach.
were pretty poor. They were pretty poor. But
I think
anyway,
he's a good coach. I don't think
yeah,
I don't think he's a coach that can win you a championship. I
I
think he's a
agree.
good
I
coach,
agree.
though.
There's some
I
other
do.
options there. Yeah, there's some other
Yes.
options. But just to get into this for the last 10 minutes and just to circle back to what you said and Beth mentioned. So you want to go over our top 10 in the AFC going into 2025? Never, it's kind of
Ye-
early, but we could
Yes.
certainly go down that route. You want to start 10 up, or do you want to just kind of rattle off who you
I'm
think
gonna
your
go
top
one.
10
I'm gonna go from one
to
down to
10?
10.
And what you
Yeah.
think the seedings will be in terms of at the end of the year? Or you going just straight
Ye-
up top 10 teams?
I'm just going with straight up top 10 teams. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
I can give you like who I think is gonna make the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
easy
Well,
enough.
I
But
think top 10 is probably good. So we'll go. So for everybody
uh,
listening, that this may not be exactly the seeding of where the teams could be. Whittle's just going to give us here the top 10 teams in AFC, period. The floor is yours,
all
man.
right, my top 10 AFC teams. Number one, the Baltimore Ravens. I think they have the best roster in football. If you look at
Mhm.
what Lamar Jackson did last year, 47, I think it was 47 touchdowns, like four interceptions. You also had Derrick Henry run for 1,800 yards. I mean, they opened up the offense. And remember, Mark Andrews was coming back from an injury last year. So Mark Andrews was having, like they were working him back into gameplay and shape. Like he's going to be healthy at the start of the season. So Isaiah likely emerged as I think probably I would say he's a top three tight end two in the NFL easily, easily top three.
Mhm.
I don't know if
Yeah.
there's a he might be the best tight end two in the league. Um, Defensively, well, I'll say on the offensive side really quick. I like the weapons they got. They now have another intermediate guy in DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's a guy that can help Lamar Jackson as an outlet in the short area to intermediate area.
Mhm.
I don't know how much he has left in the tank, but whatever he has left, I mean, it's better than what they've been rolling out there. Not that no shade to the other guys in that roster, but DeAndre Hopkins a Hall of Fame. Um, so they get a good
Mhm.
possession style receiver to match up with the deep threat of Rashad Bateman and the kind of Swiss Army knife of Zay Flowers, who's a slot guy who can beat you deep, can win over the middle, can separate from man coverage, very tough to
Mhm.
tackle. Um, yeah, so those guys, I think that they have the best roster in football. Defensive line, I think, despite them losing, what's the guy in the middle they had? Their big defensive tackle, like Mike, what was his name?
From
Well,
last
anyway,
year.
Michael Pierce.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
Michael Pierce retired, big defensive tackle. that they're gonna miss that. They're gonna miss him. But I think Travis Jones and you still have Justin Madubuike.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're adding Ananias Peebles in there,
Yep.
who's like a Ed Oliver type defensive tackle. Not nearly
Okay.
the athlete or as good as Ed, but
Yeah.
cut from kind of the same cloth. A penetrating three technique who
Mm-hmm.
beats guys with speed and athleticism while
Mm-hmm.
working on the interior. So the edges, I think Owe had a great year last year. Dafe Owe was the guy who
Yep.
took him right after we took Rousseau, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that was the 2021 draft. I think, yeah, the 2021
Mm-hmm.
draft. Um, so you got Owe, you got Kyle Van Noy, who's older but still,
So pretty solid.
still
Mm-hmm.
functioning very well. Yeah. Then you add a Mike Green to that. I think that gives you, while he is a little undersized, it gives you speed and power on the outside. He's an excellent pass rusher. So that's going to be interesting to see how they work him in. I like Trenton Simpson out of the Clemson linebacker they took a couple years ago. Uh, didn't have the greatest year last year, but another year in this defensive system, I think he's going to be good. Zach Orr, their defensive coordinator, also played linebacker for the Ravens, so I think that's going to help Trenton Simpson advance a little bit quicker. Um, Roquan Smith seems to be falling off, but we got to
Mm-hmm.
see because sometimes the play of the Mike is is a direct correlation to the play of the Will next to him. So we'll
Gotcha.
see how Roquan looks this year. Secondary, I mean, they may have the best secondary in football. Um, they signed Jair Alexander. If he's when he's healthy, he's a great corner. When he's not, that's like half the season. So when he's healthy and he's going to be out there, they're going to be really, really good. They also have Nate Wiggins on the other side. Played very well in his rookie year last year. Very fast, willing tackler, very good player. Made a ton of plays. Had a pick six against the Steelers, thinking the playoff game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in the slot, Marlon Humphreys. I don't know why I
Mm-hmm.
was like blanking on that, but like he's
I
an
know.
all pro. I mean, it
Yeah.
is like he's an
Yeah.
all pro. And if
Yeah.
Jair does get hurt and can't go, Marlon can slide right back out there to to the
The right.
outside. And then they
Yep.
they drafted a kid out of Rutgers, Robert Longerbeam, who's a slot guy.
Yes.
They may
We
be
both
able
liked
to.
him. We both
Yeah,
liked
we
him in
liked
our
him a lot.
draft this year.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can work him in, or you leave Marlon there, and then on the outside, they have Cheetah Bay Awuzie. I
Mm-hmm.
think they still have him, the standout corner from the Bengals, who tore his ACL a couple years ago and really hasn't been the same since. They also drafted TJ Tampa last year,
Mm-hmm.
so if something happens to Jair and TJ manages to show out or show that he deserves the snaps, he'll get the opportunity as well. So their safeties, well, they did lose a Darius Washington to an injury. I think he tore his ACL or something like that. So he's like probably going to miss the year. Um, but you have Malachi Starks, the standout rookie from Georgia, at free safety, and then that gives you the flexibility to move Kyle Hamilton back to the box, more of a rover, where he was
Mm-hmm.
really, really disruptive. Um, so yeah, like that roster is amazing.
It's
Now
loaded.
they gotta work on a new kicker because they cut Justin Tucker.
Yep.
So they're gonna be for the first time in a while they're gonna have a brand new kicker. But that team's loaded, man. That's
Yep.
my number one.
Yep. I agree.
Number two,
Mm-hmm.
um, this was a struggle. Number two is a struggle. Uh, I'm gonna give it to the Buffalo Bills, and this is why. I think that the Bills match up very, very well. Like, so my number 2 and number 3 team, the Bills are 2, I have the Chiefs at 3. Josh Allen over the last 2 years, I think has played the quarterback position better than Patrick Mahomes.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that Josh is the better quarterback. I just think over the last 2 years,
Hmm.
Josh has played the quarterback position better
Yep.
than Patrick has. Um, Running backs, I think obviously the Bills have the edge there. I love the Brashard Smith pickup that they got, that the Chiefs got. Um, Pacheco is going to have a full off season where he's healthy, returning from that leg injury he had last year. So I think their running back, I think their running game will be better, but they're also working in 2 new positions. New guy at left guard, new guy at left tackle. So we'll see. Um, Our offensive line is better. Kelsey, Kelsey's great. He's older. He didn't have a great year last year. Um, so Dawson Knox and Kincaid, both younger, both
Yep.
probably a little more explosive than Kelsey. Kelsey's still better, but whatever. I think it's kind of a wash between the tight end, and
Hmm.
and that's only because I think healthy Kincaid. We know what he is, and we know what Dawson Knox is when Dawson Knox is healthy, and I think those guys are really, really good. Um, we'll get into that right now, Rasheed Rice.
Hmm.
So Rice is going to be
Yeah.
back from the knee injury he got when Mahomes hit him accidentally. Um, yeah, he's still dealing with that legal issue, Beth. But the NFL doesn't do anything until the case has been tried in court, and we don't know when that's coming up. So,
Hmm.
oh, Just Commute, shout out to y'all. What's up, Petey and you guys? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Petey?
So yeah, but like I just think overall the Bills have a better team. We're better at offensive line. I think we're better at running back. I think we're better. I think our linebackers are better than theirs, and I think our secondary. I think it's kind of a wash. I give them the edge at safety, but at corner, I think we're right there with them. Um, yeah, I feel like we're better. I think we're better than them at corner. Trey
Hmm.
McDuffie's a dog for sure, but so is Christian Minford. I'm not the biggest Jalen Watson fan. I thought he was. I didn't think he was that good last year. Um,
Yeah.
they did draft the kid out of Cal, Noah Williams. Um, I like Noah Williams. I think Maxwell Harrison's better. I do. I think Maxwell Harrison's better. Maxwell's faster. Maxwell's a
Hmm.
better athlete. I think what Maxwell can do well works great for how Sean McDermott wants to play defense, or how Bobby Babbitt and those guys want to play defense. Um,
Hmm.
Petey is smoking the same drugs with Jim Jones. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Oh,
Pete's bugging, bro. Not Petey Jets Petey, but
not
Pete the
Petey.
Dolphins
Yeah.
fan is tripping, man.
Yeah, yeah, he really is.
Yeah, that was some wild stuff, man. Um, but overall, I just think the Bills and the Chiefs are really, really, really close. But I think the issues at the defense, or I think the issues at the offensive line for the Chiefs and the unknown at the running back, like Pacheco was not good last year, and I
No, he was
mean
banged.
yeah, he was hurt for sure, but yo, his vision, like his run, like his ability to run with vision and make the right decisions with the ball in his hand on where to go. It's not really good. He's not the great. He's not really great as a receiver. He's adequate. He's adequate. But I just think the Bills off running backs are a little more dynamic. Um, I'll give them the edge at wideout. because of Rasheed Rice. I think he's one of. I think he's a top 10, top 15 receiver in the league. If you look at the numbers, it's like it is what it is. Rasheed Rice he's one of them ones. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Those are my top three. My
Yep.
fourth team, I'm still gonna go with the Houston Texans.
Hmm.
Um, I like the Texans a lot because of what they have in key spots. Stingley, he's a dog. I think their linebackers are excellent. They're excellent linebackers. Christian Harris and I think it's Aziz Al Sharif. I think it is. I can't remember the
Hmm.
other guy's name, but their two linebackers are really really good. And then on the edge, they might have the best defensive end duo in the NFL. Um,
Yes.
those two guys are studs. Will
Hunter
was it
and
Will
Anderson. Will
yeah,
Anderson
Will
Jr.
Anderson and
Hunter. Hmm.
Daniil Hunter. Yep, those two. So like the spots that you really want studs at, you got them. You
Yes.
got a stud at corner. I think both their corners are really good. Kamari Lassiter was really good last year, so I think
Hmm.
both their corners are good. Um, their linebackers are excellent, and their defensive ends are absolute studs. Tim Settle played well for them last year. I think he's going to suck this year because that's what he does. He steals money. Um, so disappointed in Tim Settle when he was here at the Buffalo Bills, and then for him to go to Houston and play well absolutely infuriates me. But on the offensive side, their line, I do think that I think they drafted well over the last couple of years outside of the Kenyon Green pick. They just have had injuries on the line.
Hmm.
But now you're talking about a new left tackle. I'm not sure what they're going to do at the guard positions. Uh, I like Juice. I like Juice Scruggs, the center they
Hmm.
got out of Penn State. I think it was Penn
Yep.
State. Pretty sure it was Penn State.
I think so. Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
I like him. I like him a lot. I liked him a lot coming out. He was just hurt last year, so they got some offensive line issues. But man, oh man, Nico Collins, um, Jaden Higgins that they took in the second round early, and then they drafted a third receiver. Um, also from same school. Was it Iowa State? I think. Jeez, what is his name? Jalen. Is it Jalen Williams?
Let's
I
see.
can't. It was Jaden Higgins. I know Jaden Higgins was one of them, and then they drafted another receiver. Um, but anyway, yeah, I like what they
Uh,
got there. CJ
me
Stroud
too.
is still a dog. Uh,
Yep.
second year,
Hmm.
second year in the league. Went back to the playoffs, won a playoff game in each year. Um, I like the coach. Offensive
Yep.
coordinator is going to be a question mark, but overall, like I think the Texans are still the number 4 team in the NFL in the AFC. Number 5, Denver Broncos. The reason, and I probably should have Denver ahead of Houston. You know what? Yeah, Denver's number 4. Forget that.
Ooh.
Denver's
Okay.
loaded. Denver's loaded. They're loaded. Denver's number 4. Houston's 5th. Denver, Bo Nix is the only question mark for that team. They drafted Amarion Hampton, and I think they also signed J.K. Dobbins to play
Hmm.
running back there.
They
Uh,
did.
their wide receiver group, all those guys are like 6'5", 6'4", 6'5",
Yeah.
and they can separate. They can separate through route running or through athleticism or speed. Like they just have a bunch of guys. Drafted the kid Pat Bryant out of Illinois.
Yep.
They
Like
got
them.
to check his hands for Stickum. He's really good. I like Pat Bryant coming out. They have the best offensive line in football. The defense led the NFL in sacks last year. Their linebacker group off the charts, 1 through 3. Their linebackers are amazing.
Hmm.
And their safety play was really good last year. I don't see why that would change. They got a good group of safeties, a good pair of safeties, excuse me. And in the corners, Riley Moss and the defensive player of the year and Patrick Taylor Jr.
Hmm.
On the outside, and they drafted Jade Barron, who I thought was the most versatile um, corner in the draft. You can plug that
Yep.
guy in anywhere. You plug him in a slot. You can put him on the outside. You can play him in safety. You can put him in
Hmm.
a box. You can put him in a deep third. He can do everything. Uh, they, they're they're just studs. And then Sean Payton's the coach. So as long as Bo Nix is serviceable, the Denver Broncos are going to be good. I think they're better
Hmm.
than the Texans. So we'll put them at 4. The Texans are at 5. Number 6, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm putting the Steelers over the
Ooh.
Chargers. I'm putting the Steelers over the Chargers. Uh, Aaron Rodgers threw 28 touchdowns last year for the Jets and 3,800 yards, right? For the Jets. He's going to a team that is going to have a better offensive line than what he had last year. I think the commitment to the running game will be in full effect in Pittsburgh. The tight ends are better. Fryermuth and that big kid they got from Darnell Washington, the big kid, who might as well be an offensive tackle and with tight end athleticism.
Oh, the kid they took
Um,
from Georgia. Was it Georgia last year,
yes,
or was it?
yeah. The
We
two
talked
years
about it.
ago,
Washington. Was it Washington
yes, Darnell
or
Washington,
Darnell
six
Washington?
seven,
Yeah.
six
Hmm.
seven, 270 pounds, and he ran a sub like 4. I think he ran like a 4.6. Jalen Noel, thank
Well,
you. Jalen Noel, thank you. Yes,
yes.
Carlos,
Thank you,
appreciate
Carlos.
you. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Jalen Noel is the guy. Yes, the Texans loaded at wide receiver yet again. And like if Tank Dell ever comes back, they are really cooking, right? Because you got Tank Dell, then you have these other 3 guys, Nico, and then the two youngsters, and then Joe Mixon's at running back. I know Joe Mixon's like 30 now, but
Mm.
Joe Mixon's still really really good. Um, but
And
yeah,
let's
I
not
got the
forget
Steelers,
Bradley
man.
Chubb. Bradley Chubb as well. Don't forget Bradley Chubb. Them, if they ever get something out of him, that's an interesting
Yeah,
duo we're gonna have to deal with in the
yep.
playoffs.
I forgot they even signed him. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but Bradley Chubb's he's come back from injuries before and been excellent. And I
Yep.
tell you what, they can just like kind of slow walk Bradley Chubb's recovery,
Hmm.
and
Yes, they
then he's
can.
the heir apparent, and
Yep.
they're really good after that. He's
Oh yeah.
like both of those guys are excellent pass protectors.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they cooking down there in Houston, man. But back to the
Hmm.
Steelers. Defensively, the Steelers may have the best defense in football. It's between them and the Broncos.
Hmm.
TJ Watt is an absolute game wrecker. I've seen TJ Watt win a game by himself.
Hmm.
Literally had an interception, a strip sack, um, he had a strip sack, he had a fumble recovery, and he scored a touchdown. All in the same game.
Hmm.
TJ Watt's on that roster, they're gonna be good. You still have Cam Hayward in the middle, who's still a who's still playing at an all pro level. Um, Alex Highsmith is out there on the other uh, linebacker spot. He had like 12 sacks a couple years ago when TJ was out. Nick Herbig is the guy fresh off like they bring off the bench. Their linebackers are good. They got Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson, I think his name is. Peyton Wilson,
Hmm.
the linebacker out of NC State last year.
Yep. Hmm.
Um, defensive tackle with that are going to be playing with Cam Hayward that stands out to me. Obviously, their first round pick and Derek Harmon
Norman.
led the college football, led all defensive tackles and quarterback pressures last year in college football. And Keanu Benton, the guy that I was one of the Bills to take a couple years ago from Wisconsin. Um,
Hmm.
So that's just the front like 7 guys. Then your back end, you got Darius Slay they signed. You have
I
hold
still
on,
got
Miami
Porter.
Heat.
What they do?
Oh gosh.
What happened?
Jeez. No, the Miami Heat took the shooting guard from Illinois,
Oh,
the Greek kid.
Jaconis or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
they took
Yeah,
him.
man.
Oh man, Whittle.
Wow.
Uh,
I thought he lasted the Celtics. Or
mhm.
whatever. Um so yeah, the Steelers. Joey
Mhm.
Porter Jr., Big Play Slay. Uh and then their safeties are really, really, really good. Like I like their
Yeah.
safeties a lot. So,
Mhm.
you know, you got Minka Fitzpatrick, you got Deshaun Elliott, and one you know, one more guy that I'm gonna mention outside of the coaching staff, like I think the coaching staff's excellent. Um one more guy that I'll mention is their kicker. He was the best kicker in football last year. Or like what's his name?
Kicker
Chris.
for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, for the Steelers. Chris
Boswell.
something. Chris
Boswell.
Boswell. Chris Boswell?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
Chris Boswell. Yep, he was the best kicker in football last year. The guy is like automatic from like 53 and in. Automatic. So they drafted Caleb Johnson. They still have Jalen Warren at running back. Just those two guys and their ability to go into 12 personnel, I think, is going to separate them. That's going to protect Aaron Rodgers. It's going to give Aaron Rodgers a real opportunity to find guys, find his pass catchers. I didn't mention the wide receivers yet. DK Metcalf, he's going to take the
Hmm.
top off defenses all day long. If Roman Wilson's healthy, I think Roman Wilson's an excellent receiver that they can utilize. Not only is Roman Wilson athletic and fast and tough, he's an excellent run blocker. They also have Robert Woods, who is another possession style receiver, a little up there in age. He's often injured as well, but when he's on the field, he's a chain mover and he's an excellent blocker. He's an excellent run blocker at the wide
Hmm.
receiver position. Excellent run blocker. They also have this kid Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin is a absolute dog. He's their third slash fourth guy.
Hmm.
Can really stretch the field. He is extremely fast, very tough. Has no problem going across the middle catching the football. He took one of the meanest hits in the world against the Cincinnati Bengals last year. He stayed on the field. He stayed on the ground for about a good 7 or 8 seconds, and then he popped right back up and kept playing. I like their team a lot. I got them as my number 16.
Okay.
Number 7, the Chargers. Uh, love everything the Chargers did in the draft this year. Um, the offensive line, I think their tackles are really. I think they got an excellent duo at tackle. Um, I liked Zion Johnson out of Boston College when they drafted him. They got a few guys on that line that are their line is pretty good. Um, they drafted I can't remember who they drafted at running back, but I know that
Oh,
they took a running back this year.
Amari Hampton. Didn't they take Hampton from
Amari
North
Hampton,
Carolina?
yeah, from North Carolina. Yep.
Hmm.
So arguably the number 2 or number 1 back in this year's draft. Uh,
Yep.
I guess consensus number 2 guy. Um, that's an excellent piece to add to a team that wants to run the football. Uh, you already have Lad McConkey there. Justin Herbert is a bona fide stud. Uh, not in the playoffs, but just in general.
Hmm.
Um, you add Trey Harris to that, I think that's a huge, huge, huge move.
Hmm.
Um, and then they take a tight end too. I think they took uh
Well, I
did
know they
they
signed
take
Conklin.
Yep,
I know
Tyler
they signed Ty
Conklin.
Conklin. They take Gatson from
Oh, Rondé
Syracuse.
Gadsden from Syracuse. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be more of a slot guy. Like he's gonna be
Okay.
more like he's gonna be more like a big slot. That's what he's gonna be.
But
Gotcha.
Conklin's good. Like Conklin's a solid guy. They can throw in line.
Hmm.
Gadsden's more of a receiving threat, not necessarily a true tight end. But yeah, I like what they did. Like all defensively, Derwin James, uh, Aloni, Aloe. Gosh, this dude's name screwed me up. The free safety. Um, we'll get back to
Gilman?
it. It's like a
Gilman?
Loey Gilman,
Gilman?
yeah,
Gilman.
a Loey Gilman, yeah, tough, tough. He's
Yeah.
tough. Who else? Uh,
They have
corners, really good, like their
corners.
corners. Triumph Steel,
Cam Hart.
Triumph Steel. Who?
Cam Hart, pretty solid, I think, if I remember
Cam
correctly.
Hart, yeah, kid from Notre Dame.
Hmm.
Cam Hart.
Yep.
Yep, Cam Hart, really good. Um, Triumph Steel from Maryland, another good kid. And their slot, I can't remember his name, but he's pretty good too.
Still. I think Still. Was his name Still?
Still, yeah, still.
Hmm.
So wait. So who's on the outside
Still's the
then?
slot.
Still's the slot.
I think it's Hart and let's see. Maybe I had it wrong.
No, I think
Dante
Still's
Jackson. They signed Dante Jackson.
okay. Yep, Dante
Leonard.
Jackson. That's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, they're solid, man. I mean, at linebacker they got Dylan Henley, kid from
Hmm.
Washington State.
Hmm.
Weirdly enough, though, like it's kind of weird he's playing in L.A. His dad is like a big time gang member in Los Angeles.
Is that right? Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Like
Wow.
he walks in. Word like that. That's what I talked to some Chargers fans. They're like, yeah, he walk into the locker room, man.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Nobody bothers him.
nobody's
Nobody.
gonna bother him more. Listen, if he
No.
has to, they need a favor. Dad's gonna take care of it for his son, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You know what I
So yeah,
mean?
like he's untouchable. Like the coaches better not even use bass in their voice when they talk to him. But anyway, so yeah, that's my number 16.
Okay.
Number 7, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh, okay.
Cincinnati Bengals. And the reason why I got the Bengals here and not at 8 is because I do think the eighth team has a better roster overall than the seventh team. I
Okay.
what Joe Burrow and that offense is able to do is, I can't even explain. They're as I think that offense is as explosive as the greatest show on turf. Like I think they're at that level. They're that good.
Yep.
All right, well,
Absolutely.
okay, about that. Will Riley. Um, what else we got? All right, so yeah, the Bengals. Um, I mean, we know the Bengals, man. They got some issues with Trey Hendrickson sitting out there. They still haven't signed their draft picks. Um, I like the guys that they have on defense. I just don't know I just don't know how it's going to look. We're changing defensive coordinator. There's no more Lou Anarumo. They got a new defensive coordinator, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, I think their defensive coordinator is Al Golden. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Al Golden's a good defensive mind. He was at Notre Dame, I believe, calling the defense out there. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that works. I just
Hmm.
have a lot of questions about their defense and can they run the football effectively enough to have some sort of balance. I think you need
Yep.
that balance in order to beat the better team.
Hmm.
And you want to keep the ball away from the other team. You got to play. You got to be able to. You got to be able to work the clock as well. So
Yes.
being explosive is great. Being able to put points away is great, but you want to run the football to seal wins.
Hmm.
And if you can't do that, you're going to find yourself in third and long situations. You're not always going to get them. And if you do, penalties and things like that happen. You're going to find yourself punting. Number 8, I would put Pete's Miami Dolphins here, but I think the Colts have a better roster. So my number 8 team is the Colts. Um, their only question mark, folks, is quarterback. You know, uh, so Jonathan Taylor, you got Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, and AD Mitchell at wide receivers. Um, tight end, I'm not sure who they have right now. I know they had Jelani Woods at tight end,
Dra-
but
They drafted Tyler Warren, I think, from Penn State, right? If I
Tyler
remember correctly.
Warren. Yep,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, like that's offensive line. Like they got a really good tackle duo as well. Bernard Ryman and Braden Smith.
Mhm.
On the inside, the usual suspects. Quentin Nelson. Um, I can't remember the other. Will Fries, I think, is one of the is the guard is one of the
Yeah.
guards. Is the
Will
other guard,
Fries.
and I
Yeah.
cannot remember the center. I know Ryan Kelly's
Oh
not
wait, didn't
there.
they didn't they lose Fries the free agency? If I remember correctly,
Did they?
they might have actually. Will Fry. I thought, if I remember correctly, he got some big contract, but let's see.
Let me check.
Will Fries? I could be wrong, but for some reason, yeah, he went to Minnesota. That's right. He signed an insane deal with
Mm,
this with Minnesota. If I remember they lost it. Like, wow. I said that was a little surprising, but I just remember the money, how big it was. I was like, man.
okay, I'm looking at it now. Matt Gonclaves, he's a guard that was drafted as a like he was a tackle in college, and they moved him inside the guard. And then Tanner Bortolini, the kid from
Mhm.
oh, was it Wisconsin? I think he was Wisconsin as well. It's either Wisconsin or Illinois, one of them. Yeah, Wisconsin. Yep, athletic freak dog. Like one of my favorite. Daniel Jones is the quarterback. I think Daniel
Hmm.
Jones. I think Daniel Jones is absolutely going to be a dog. They don't. Jelani Woods is fourth string. Yikes. More Ali
Hmm.
Cox is the second tight end. Jeez, I did not realize that.
Hmm. Sell me a little bit on the Colts here. I didn't really, they have a much better roster than I anticipated.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Looking at
Listen,
them. Hmm.
defensively they're loaded. Defensively they're
Yeah.
loaded. You know,
Yeah.
Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner inside. They got the kid from UCLA, Latu, on the edge, and then on the other edge is Quiddy Pay. Then for backups, they got
You
the kid
know,
Double A, Adam
well,
Adam Adam
you know
Adam
who they
some.
kind of remind me of?
Oh God, I can't say it. Double A. Double A is the guy, and then they drafted the kid from
Hmm.
Ohio State,
You
JT
know,
Tuamali.
you know,
What's up?
you know, who they remind me of Doug Marone Buffalo Bills teams. If they get a quarterback, ooh, they can be interesting, right? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yep.
the roster's kind of nice. Like, if they get big play out of Daniel Jones and or Anthony Richardson, depending of if he's ready to step up or not, we'll see how that goes. But the rest of that roster's intriguing. Like, they could be a surprise. We always talk about teams that come out of nowhere and grab one of those last playoff spots. Colts could be that team very quietly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, secondary studs as well. Linebackers, Zaire Franklin, he's a stud. Travarius Ward is that corner. Kenny Moore is the standout nickel they got there. Uh, the what's the kid name? Juju Brents, who I think he was from Kansas State. I like him. I think he's going to end up starting over Jalen Jones at corner. Safeties, Cam Bynum, they got him over from Minnesota. And then my dog from Maryland, Nick Cross, the track phenom, hard-hitting
Okay.
track phenom. So they're loaded, man. Like they have a loaded team. The only issue there is like quarterback.
Yeah.
Number 9, we'll go with Miami. think Miami's put together a really good defensive front. I like their
Mm-hmm.
linebackers. I don't like the secondary at all. I think the secondary is terrible. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you had, even if they were gonna keep what's this guy's name? Um, God, I'm blanking on the corner that they brought over from the Rams. Um, the one that Josh cooks every single time he goes up against them. Jalen
Jalen
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, Ramsey. All right, yeah,
Yep.
Jalen Ramsey. That's the guy. So even if they kept Jalen Ramsey, I think their secondary still stinks. Uh,
Yeah.
they
Yep.
got they got great receivers, man. Like I can't even try to like kick them
Yep.
on that. Their receivers are excellent. So what's my guy? Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. They drafted a possession guy. Let me see. I can't remember his name, but I'm gonna try to find his form.
Um,
Let me get it.
drafted.
I pulled it up.
They draft Armstrong or I'm trying to
No,
think.
no, I'm sorry. They didn't draft him. They signed him.
Oh, the
Nick.
kid from Tennessee, right? With the
Yeah, and
Westbrook or
Westbrook and
something.
Keenan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Westbrook and Keenan.
Eh,
You know who I like that they got? Who I think is a sneaky guy to actually like win like earn a bunch of snaps. This kid Andrew Armstrong. He went to Arkansas.
mhm.
He led the SEC in receiving last year.
Hmm.
Nah, dog, not cheeks. They actually have like a really complete wide receiver group. Malik Washington's another guy that I like that they have. Taj Washington is another guy that they drafted last year from USC. So they have guys at wide receiver just in case they want to switch it up. The offensive line scares me a little bit. And not like a good not like a bad scare where I mean not like a good scare where um oh, they were in the division. I'm worried about this offensive line. No. Like, I don't know if this offensive line is going to be good. Patrick Paul is starting at left tackle. We'll see how that works. Austin Jackson starting at right tackle. He's not good. We take advantage of him all the time. They brought in James Daniels from Pittsburgh. I don't think he's a good player. I don't think he was that good last year. Jonas Savale, I think his name is.
Mhm.
They drafted him. We'll see how that works. And Aaron Brewer was good. Aaron Brewer was good for them at center. So Jonathan Smith, the tight end, I like him. Um, yeah, they brought in a couple other guys. The tight, I mean, whatever. Uh,
Mhm.
the running backs, like we know what it is. A Chain,
Yep.
Jalen Wright, and then they drafted the kid Ollie Gordon. um, to be like
Yep.
like a big time power back. Allegan Gold at fullback, that's he's always good. Jonathan Smith is still there at tight end. I don't know that they are gonna be able to trade him, but they better sign him because he led their team in like reception last year. So they really need to
Mhm.
sign. Two is the quarterback. As long as he's healthy, the Dolphins can win 10 to 11 games every single year. They'll lose twice to the Bills and they'll get bounced in the first round, but they will be a playoff team if Tua's out. Um, on defense, again, Kenneth Grant, uh, Zach Steeler, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, those guys, they're dogs, all of them. Jordan Brooks, Tyrell Dodson, Willie Gay, and then KJ Britt are the linebacker. That's the linebacker group. I love it. I love that group. And then the corners, the corners stormed up, and Jalen Ramsey, they stink. Um, Ramsey included. He's not good. Like, I don't care what anybody says. He's not good. Kaden
We need to
Cole, he's
cl-
not good
we
either.
we need to clip
Um,
Jalen Ramsey. They stink. That
no,
was
yeah,
good.
they stink. Ramsey's washed. If Ramsey's not playing safety or slot, there's no point in being out there.
Yep. Yep.
You know that meme where You know that meme where they have it's like a short video. It's not even a meme. Where they have Shannon Sharp sitting at the table and he's pointing out like all the different Thanksgiving foods.
Yeah.
That is Jalen Ramsey. If the Bills line up against the Miami Dolphins, and I don't care what receiver it is, if you see Jalen Ramsey in front of you, sweet potatoes, uh, uh, string beans, cauliflower, collard greens, that's turkey, mac and cheese. He's a meal. He is a meal. Period. That whole secondary in Miami, it's a meal. If you protect Josh Allen, you protect your quarterback. There, you can feast on those guys. The Miami
Yeah.
secondary stinks. Yes, yeah. There you go. Barbecue chicken, or in the words of Mrs. Brittany Mahomes, fried chicken. I'm sorry, fried chicken. They are terrible. But that's my
Oh man.
19. That's my
Okay.
ninth. That's my number 19.
So who's last
Number
but not least?
10.
The number 10.
Number 10. I want to give it to the Jags. I do, but I can't. I can't give it to the Jags. I'm gonna give it to the Raiders. Bro, I love what the Raiders look like right now. I'm sorry. They have a question at corner because they drafted Darian Porter's like 24 years old already, but he's still like 6'3", 200 pounds, and runs like a 4.35. You know, got like a 38-inch vertical. He's a dog. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of snaps at corner, but that front line that they got, man, with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, that's legit. Linebackers an issue. Linebackers an issue for them as well. And the secondary, like they got some issues in the secondary, but they still have guys like Jacorian Bennett who I like a lot. And then there's another. I'm sorry, guys, I gotta look some of this stuff up because it's a lot of teams, and I'm trying to like remember all of these names um, on my own, and it's just Jeremy Chin at safety. Now this is a name I want people to pay attention to. Free safety. Oh, Eric Stokes. They brought Eric Stokes over from the uh, from the Packers. Eric Stokes is pretty. He's solid. Like he's a solid player. Um, Isaiah Palomalo.
Mm,
Yes, the I think he's like the nephew of Troy Palomalo.
okay.
I I first caught on to this kid when he was in high school in Arizona. I
Hmm.
cannot remember who put me on to him, but somebody was like, "Yo, Troy Polamalu's nephew is is like ball like he's like an NFL player in high school. He's going to
Hmm.
USC. You got to check him out." So I started like keeping tabs on him. And when he was at USC, yeah, I mean, a little inconsistent, up and down, but so was USC. Like they weren't really great defensively. But 6'4", 210 pounds. He can run, he can jump. Obviously, he's the nephew of Troy, so he's bringing the boomstick. I love this kid, Isaiah Palomalo. I am rooting for him to be good. I was banging the table for the Bills to bring him in. I'm pretty sure he was like undrafted. Let me check because I'm pretty sure he was undrafted. Let me check. Yep, undrafted. He was an undrafted. They did not draft him. Yeah. So, bro, I like him a lot. I like Palomalu. I like him a lot. They signed
Hmm.
Jermaine Pratt. Jermaine Pratt came over from Cincinnati when Cincinnati released him. They signed him. Think that's a really good move.
Malcolm Kuntz is on that line. Tyree Wilson, their first round draft pick a couple years ago. Um, they got guys, man. They really do have guys.
They do.
Not a
Yep.
ton, not a ton of guys, but I like what they got going on over there. That's my number 10 team,
Okay.
and I know
Well,
this really lasted a lot longer than I
that's
expected.
okay. But I'm gonna give you my top 10 quickly, Wittles. I've been taking notes
Okay,
and I've been gathered here. I'm gonna put them right on the screen because, and I'm gonna explain just quickly a couple of my rankings here. So right here, I do agree with you with
whoa,
Baltimore. I have Houston number 3 and Kansas City number 4 for this reason. It's no disrespect to Kansas City, but I want you to look at who I have at number 5, who we have at number 8, and who we have at number 10. We got the whole AFC West in the top 10.
yep.
Okay. So that tells me that may knock the Chiefs down. It doesn't mean that the Chiefs could win 12 games and be the 4 seed. That's a possibility, right? So Houston has a little bit of a, the division has some challenges. I think we have the easier division. Uh, no offense to our Miami fan. I think the wheels are going to come off of Miami this year. I like their talent, but I just think there's something going on there internally. I just think that there's going to be a coaching change. Jets are rebuilding. We know what's going on there. New England, I was thinking about putting here, but I don't. Not yet. Not quite yet. I think those other teams are just more ready. But New England is heading in the right direction, and I know they have an easier schedule, but I don't think they're better than Vegas or Indianapolis at this point. So that's just to explain my rankings on there. But
Yeah, I mean Vegas offensively, I think um, I trust them a little bit more than I trust New England right now. I
right
like,
now,
yeah, I like their offense. Like Jacoby Myers is a
hmm
like I mean he's a trusted commodity at this point. I liked Trey Tucker last year with
hmm
them. Um, obviously, like that offensive line, bro. That offensive line. So I'm gonna go through it real quick. Uh, DJ Glaze was not supposed to be this good. They took him late in the I think they got him in like the 6th round or something like that. He's playing right tackle. Colton Miller is one of the best left tackles in the game. Dylan Parham, kid from Memphis, they took like 3 years ago. Loved him. Absolutely loved him. They brought over Alex Kappa from Cincinnati. Alex Kappa was always, I think he was the most consistent offensive lineman that Cincinnati has had. And then at center they got Jackson Powers Johnson. That's really good.
hmm
That's a good bones for an offensive line. Geno Smith's the quarterback. They drafted Ashton Genty. Raheem Mostert, I think, is there. Yeah, that's their
Yep.
backup. They still got Zamir White. I mean, dog, like they've got something going on there. I think Geno's gonna be good. He was good for what's that coach? He used to be the Seahawks coach.
Carroll.
Um
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, yeah. So
hmm
he was good for Pete Carroll when he was in Seattle.
Yep.
Pete Carroll got to the Raiders and said, "Go get Geno." They brought
hmm
Geno down. I think Geno's going to play well for them. Dante
Yep.
Thornton, kid out of Tennessee, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", can run like the wind. They said he has been dominant in minicamp so far. Like
hmm
he was
Yep.
dominant for them. So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
looking at him as probably the outside X guy, and that's just gonna like they really could put this thing together. It wouldn't
Yep.
surprise me if the Raiders like it wouldn't surprise me if that entire division
hmm
was like 500 or better, like around
Yes.
500 or better,
Yes.
like
And that's why. And
eight
that's
and
why.
nine,
Yep.
10-7, 10-7, and then like 11-6 or 10 and
It's
12-5.
possible. And
Yeah,
this is why, Will, when you think about the Chargers and you look at the Colts and you think about the Vegas Raiders and you look at Cincinnati and all the little issues they're having with contracts and their defensive holes. Like I know they have Joe Burrow, but I'll tell you what, Will, I have them at 7, but I would not be shocked if they're at 10. I know it's that, I know people say, oh, last year was an aberration. Cincinnati should have made the playoffs. Let's have a petition. But look at those teams behind them. They're well put together. They got good coaching staffs. They got a lot of solid things going on. They may be better teams. Big Burrow's the better quarterback, and Chase is an out of sight receiver. But when you really break it down, since he's deficient in a lot of other areas against some of these other teams. So that's number 7. That's gonna. I had a tough time with that. I really did. I was thinking, but I'm just thinking since he will find a way to get in with Burrow, but we'll find out come
I'll
playoff
put it
time.
to you like this. I'll put it to you like this. You got Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City.
Hmm.
Outside of that, everybody's interchangeable. Like I could see a situation where Daniel Jones is playing excellent football for
Hmm.
the Shane Steichen offensive mind who created the greatest season Jalen Hurts ever had.
Hmm.
If you get Daniel Jones, who's a guy with a similar athletic ability, not that
Hmm.
he's the quarterback Jalen Hurts is, but
Hmm.
the kid can throw. Daniel Jones can throw the football.
Yep.
He's big. He can run. All of those things. If he plays well for them, they could be better than Houston.
Yep.
That Colts team could be better than Houston. If
If
Denver puts it together, they could be better than Houston.
Yeah.
Like I could see once you get past 3, my top 3, Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City, and
Kansas
your top
City.
3,
Yeah.
you have Houston. But
I
like
do.
I don't
I
think
do.
those are like the bloods of the AFC. They're not going anywhere. Those 3 teams.
Probably not. Yeah. Yeah. And again, my KC thing is
Everybody
not a
else is
disrespect.
kind of shaky.
Yeah. It's more respect for their division than it is a disrespect to
Yeah,
the Chiefs. That's where I'm
and
going with
I'm
that.
and I don't know about you, but I'm like really close to just stamping Houston as a playoff team every year because
Hmm.
like I know that we got to see this year. This year is the proven year to me, and not because I don't think Houston needs to prove anything because I think they're a good team, but Houston hasn't had a challenge in that division. Not really,
Mm-mm.
not really. I think Jacksonville gave them a scare, and then for a little while, Indianapolis did last year, but they really haven't had a challenge. This year might be a challenge for them. This year might be a challenge. So we'll see if Houston can pull themselves out of that division as a division winner. I'm stamping them. They're official.
Hmm.
They're
Yep.
they're the big 3 goes to the big 4 for
Yep.
sure.
Absolutely. But we'll see how it goes, Will. That is for sure.
All right.
But
So
listen,
listen.
d- yeah, go right ahead. Got
No, I was
some.
about to say. Go ahead.
Oh no. Well, just want to wrap this up real quick and say Matt and I are going to be doing an NHL draft show Friday and Saturday for the Sabres. For you hockey fans out there, breaking news: it looks like the Sabres may have made a big trade tonight, just now within the
Oh,
last few minutes. So trading one of their disgruntled RFAs, but I'll leave that alone. I'm still waiting to see. So this is why I love this time
okay,
of year,
okay.
Will, with the NBA and NHL, where you get these like bombs at
Yeah.
like two in the morning, right? You get a Woj bomb or a Shamus bomb, or you get
Yep.
something like that. So just be on the lookout for that for you hockey fans out there that commiserate. If you want to commiserate with me about the horribleness of the Buffalo Sabres, join Matt and I Friday and Saturday. We are here for you. So thank you, JB. I appreciate you. And yeah, it's always a blast. It's great.
Ah,
What happened, Whittle? Are they picking them
Jace
or something?
Richardson got taken by the Orlando Magic, man.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh,
Celtics are missing out on all the great talent. Ah, what a shame. In my Nick, my Nick. By the way, Whittle, I never thought I'd live in a world where Rutgers had 2 of the top 5 picks in the NBA draft. Right? I would never think that. You told me that
brother,
20
the
years ago.
talent is in Jersey. The talent is
I know
there.
it
It's
is.
just,
It's
oh
amazing.
God, I wanted him so bad, bro.
Man, Celtics should be
Sorry,
moving on.
man.
Well, Brooklyn's got like 25 first round picks in this draft. I mean, they're picking twice before you. They got the Knicks pick here coming up, and then Houston coming up. So
I'm sick now, man. And he's a lefty too. Oh,
Hmm.
I was looking forward to him in Celtic Green, bro. Like
Yep.
that's like that was the
Hmm.
point guard that was gonna move Derek White off ball. But all
Yep.
right, let's pack this in, man. All right. Appreciate you,
Absolutely. What else?
JB.
Always. Thank you, JB. I want to thank everyone in here. Dog is always great to see you. Beth, great to see you. Petey was in here. Pete's takes. We loved you. We loved the comments. They were great. Just keep coming back.
Pete's
Yep.
terrible takes.
Pete's terrible takes, but we love having you on
Change
here.
your name, Pete.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pat is always great to see you. And of course to all of our friends at Do Champions. Thank you so much. And we appreciate it. Well, that's all I had on this Wednesday night.
All right. That's all I got. But before we go, you know what we got to do.
Yes, we do.
Bills got to pay the bills.
Pay the bills
We'll
and
be
go
back in a
Bill.
second to close out, guys.
Yes, we will.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
All right. And that is that on that. We appreciate everybody as always. Thank you guys for tuning in. I apologize. I get a little long winded when we start talking about football. We get into these rosters and these teams
Hey,
and a
listen.
lot of these players. So I apologize, but I
No,
listen, man. I've a lot of these guys that
listen.
we're talking about. Like I've watched a lot
Hey,
of their college stuff, and
for all of our listeners, I'll leave it at this. If you ever want to know where to get great draft coverage, when Whittle can talk about Storm Duck like he can, Whittle is into the draft. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, Whittle. That you can break out some Storm Duck commentary.
yeah.
You're dialed in.
I
So
didn't I
I
didn't know who
appreciate.
he was. I didn't know who he was until last year. I think Ramsey was out for whatever reason,
Hmm.
and there was a guy that was just like it was a guy that was out there, and he wasn't Cam Smith making plays on the ball. I'm like, who is this kid? And I saw the back of his
Yeah.
name, and I was like, duh, no
Mm.
way. And then the
Yeah.
guys, the Dolphin fans, some of my people's on some of our, our good friends from the Miami fan base, my guy Ronan put me on. He was like, "Yo, that kid Storm Ducking, he be balling, man. He
Yeah.
can play."
There we go.
I went.
Yeah.
I had to go back and watch him a couple games. I was like, "Yo, they
Yeah.
may have something there. They may have something
Abs-
there."
absolutely.
But
Absolutely. But next week, little program announcement for me. I will be in we will be one coast. I will be in your neck of the woods next week. Don't know if I'll be able to
okay,
do the pod next week, but after that, I'll be back better than ever. But you and I will talk offline. I will be back at home in Jersey for a little
all
bit. So
right,
looking forward to that.
sounds like a
So
plan
we'll link up and we'll talk about it. But I hope you all have a great week ahead. If I don't
for
talk to you all
sure.
here on the pod, great fourth. And when I get back, especially we're getting closer to St. John's Fisher, folks. The NFL season is
Absolutely,
around the corner. So get excited, enjoy your holiday, and we'll talk soon. Go Bills.
go Bills.